The latest episode of our Win in 6 podcast arrives as we worked through the key talking points to emerge from Media Day and looked ahead to the most interesting story heading into training camp. After a long off-season, Monday's Media Day effectively marked the return of Bucks basketball, particularly as the team's training camp got underway the following morning. As always, the chance to see all of the players, as well as key figures from around the organization address the media provided a number of interesting quotes heading into the new year. Among the topics we discussed further are Jabari Parker's potential extension, the Bucks keeping their defensive scheme, and the overall intelligence and maturity of Milwaukee's players. Away from Media Day, we've also talked about the 6 players competing for the team's final roster spot, highlighting our personal preferences for that final spot and the player who we think will actually make the final cut. As usual, we wrapped up this week's episode with a host of listeners' questions which were submitted through our mailbags on Twitter and Facebook. Joining me for this episode was site contributor and the Henny Goodman of the Bucks community, Jordan Tresk. If you have any thoughts about the podcast or any of the discussions in this episode, let us hear them. You can contact us via email at emailprotected. You can also follow us on SoundCloud, add us on Stitcher, and subscribe on iTunes, so you'll be sure never to miss a future episode of Win in 6. We'd also appreciate if any of you could take the time to rate and review us in the iTunes store, while we can be found socially on Facebook and Twitter too. Also, don't forget to check out our range of Win in 6 designs for apparel, merchandise and much more available here. We will be back next week with preseason talk and some wider NBA preview podcasts, starting with a move back to our in-season Sunday recording slot, meaning the podcast will post on Monday.